fire in the morning. And as a first-time guy, I must say that I thought Hoot and the other experienced guys had me quite well prepared for what we were about to encounter.
Yes. Happy Tuesday, everybody. How you doing? Yeah, the Jay story was crazy. Glad he's okay. We have officially entered the dog days of sports. No NBA. Hockey's done. Obviously, football's still in the off season. I guess the only thing, what was the other thing we're missing? Oh, college baseball's over with. The only thing left is Major League Baseball. I don't know many people that have 4 and 5 hours a day to dedicate to watching Major League Baseball, but the countdown has begun. I think we're right at 61 days. If somebody can confirm my math on that, somewhere around 60 to 61 days until the first college football kickoff game. Penn State versus Clemson national championship game. Well, they'll both be preseason top 10, probably even top 5. What's up, Stingray? Hey, when does the first AP rankings come out? Is that in July or the beginning of August? I can't remember.
Reach and visibility checks and feeling the force on my chest. I just said, well, forget about that. I'm going to sit here and enjoy the ride.
I think Clemson's probably going to be ranked 3rd or 4th in the first ranking. I think it's going to be... I think it's going to be Ohio State, Texas are going to be the top 2. Then after that, it's kind of a hodgepodge of teams. But I think Clemson will probably be in the top 3 or 4. Definitely in the top 5. People freaked out a couple weeks ago whenever ESPN came out with their power rankings, which is not a ranking. It's just well, it's not a ranking. And they had Clemson outside of the top 10 or something. People freaked out about that. Yeah, I don't know about the stream freezing. Everything seems to be going, looks pretty normal on my end. So I don't know if it's you or I don't know. Anyway, so last week, where's my handy dandy notes here? Oh yeah. Last week we did record predictions for SMU and Florida State. The panel who has a very good track record on the ACC show of record predictions prior to the season. We had SMU at 9-3, which I think is fair. And Florida State actually at a respectable. I say respectable. It's terrible, but yeah, when you're coming off a 2-win season. 5-7. 5-7 for Florida State. Yeah, the music definitely sounds like it's like it's freezing, but that's how it's supposed to be. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. The YouTube machine tells me everything's fine, so I don't know. Will Kirk Herbstreit pick up teams for the playoffs this year? Pick the teams for playoffs this year? No. No. I don't know. I haven't really watched. I don't think I've watched any live YouTube stuff today, so I don't know. But I will turn the music off since it's quite honestly starting to distract me a little bit here. Jay Shipes, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate it. He says, "Stop complaining about free shows." Yeah, yeah. Stop complaining about free shows. Anyway, happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the ACC show. What's up, Sea-Dog?
Hey, what's up?
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Last week you were a complete mess.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot better since then, thankfully. So, yeah, everything's cool.
All right, good. We are going to talk about, like I mentioned that we did last week. We started off with SMU and Florida State at 9-3 and 5-7 is what we came up with them. And tonight we're going to be talking about North Carolina and Syracuse. I did briefly look at the North Carolina schedule, and as much of a train wreck as I'm pretty sure we all think that North Carolina is going to probably be, they do have a pretty favorable schedule. I don't know if you've looked at it.
Yeah, they have one every year, dude. They get they get the easiest schedules every year.
Yeah, I don't know. They're out of conference. They play. Well, here I'll put it on the screen. But I mean, they play TCU to start the season out. I guess that could be a difficult game, and TCU will probably win that game. But outside of that, Charlotte, Richmond.
Yeah.
Who's the other one? Is that it? Yeah. And even within the ACC, they get they're UCF. That's probably a loss. So that's probably their toughest out of conference game. If I don't know, I guess maybe TCU or UCF, one of those two.
Yeah.
But they really, I mean, they do have to play Clemson in North Carolina. But outside of that, the rest of the ACC teams they play are sort of like Duke, Wake Forest, Stanford.
Yeah.
So it does set up nicely for them. The other thing with North Carolina is they have quarterback Max Johnson, who at this point I feel like has been playing college ball for like 6 years. Am I wrong about that? Well, he started out at LSU, right?
Didn't he? Is he the one that got hurt last year real bad?
Yeah. Well, he's been hurt his whole career. So he started out at LSU, I think, as a backup. Then he transferred to Texas A&M, where he had his really one and only decent season in college in 2021. Yeah. And it still wasn't great. I mean, I think he threw for 2,800 yards and 27 touchdowns or something. It wasn't anything like he didn't light the world on fire. So from 2020 to, or whatever it is, maybe it might have been 2019, till now, he's only had one season where he even put a blip on the radar at all. He was hurt last year, like you just mentioned. He's coming back. I don't know how many years of eligibility he has left. Usually people in the chat are pretty good at looking up stats and helping me out here. But anyway, my point is he's old and experienced, but he doesn't really have a lot of, there's nothing you can look at about Max Johnson and be like, that's the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Also, they brought in, I think they brought in a transfer quarterback from Purdue, which, that is what that is. So they don't really have a whole lot of depth at quarterback, and they lost their number one offensive weapon. And now I'm going to have a brain fart and forget the guy's name. Who's the running back that they had for the past 3 years in North Carolina? It was really good. You know who I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Anyway, he's gone. He almost didn't come back last year, remember? He came back, and I think he kind of regretted it. North Carolina last year had 6-7 record. It just was terrible. I mean, it was enough to end Mac Brown's career there, and for them to go out and make this crazy fucking hire with Bill Belichick. And I've come to the conclusion that I've figured out exactly why they hired Bill Belichick. Do you want to know the reason?
What's that?
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, Trump said it best, man. It's just
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
That's funny.
Trump's right. They just don't know what they're doing.
It's true.
And I'm here for this disaster. I'm here to watch this disaster happen.
Yeah.
So let's see who's in here real quick. Say hello to the people, and then we'll get right to these predictions here. Matt Dummett's here, Jay Shipes, Kevron Harris, Andrea, Yoda, Daniel Barry Sports. Our buddy Droid is here. Says go Tigers. Randy Anderson, CJ, Slim Shady Canes, Jeremy, Space Mountain, and James Thompson. I think I already said Stingray. USC.
I loved Space Mountain as a kid.
Oh, you mean the roller coaster?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Why just as a kid? You don't like it as an adult?
Well, I haven't been since I was a kid, but
Oh, well, that's a good reason.
I assume I would like it now too.
Yeah. USC Knip, I think that's how it's pronounced, says the ACC sucks. Yet South Carolina only has one ACC title. So there's that. Mr. You Mad Bruh. And Screech. All right, so moving right along here. So we're just going to run through this here. This North Carolina shouldn't be hard. I feel like we're setting up here for you know how everything in the world's going crazy, and it's like you turn on the news and it's almost like a South Park episode? You know what I mean? I feel like that's what's going to happen at North Carolina this year.
Yeah.
Like, what is his girlfriend? What's her name? His 25-year-old girlfriend?
Every time somebody says her name, it's like Jordan, right? Every time she says it, it sounds like a player's name, so it throws me off.
It does.
Jordan,
yeah.
It sounds like a player's name, and it's confusing. Jordan something starts with a B.
I just feel like she's going to be somehow. I feel like she's one of these women that feels like she has to be the center of attention all the time. So when the attention's not on her, that she's going to do something to put the attention on her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like if you mix TMZ and ESPN together.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're about to watch.
Yeah.
And I think there's also people out there. I'm not saying I'm one of these people. I don't think Bill Belichick will last 2 seasons at North Carolina, But there's some people that think he won't even last one.
Wow. Well, whatever his buyout, they're not going to fire him after one season.
No, but they could. See, that's the other thing, too. Conspiracy theorists coming out the woodwork with this whole thing where, you know, he didn't really want the job to begin with. It's all a ploy to get his son the job eventually.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe they could say, well, this is a disaster. We can't afford to fire him, but he'll let us just turn the keys over to his son instead so we can get rid of that Jordan girl. That sounds more likely. Right.
I'm glad it's happening to another team, not mine.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for North Carolina fans a little bit. I mean,
it's definitely not an enviable position to have a clown show.
They did seem like, you know, there was a pretty good 15 or 20 year stretch there where they were just North Carolina. I mean, nobody really cared about them. They were just like a 6-7 win team every year. They were lucky to make a bowl game, blah, blah, blah. But then they started to ascend sort of in the 2010s as a serious contender in the ACC, or at least pretending to be one.
Yeah.
Made a couple of ACC championship appearances. Had a couple of really good coaches come through there. Then Mac Brown comes back. He's semi-successful until, you know, the last couple of seasons. And now it just seems like they're totally unserious about football again all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe we're all going to be completely wrong about this, and Bill Belichick's going to be some kind of a catalyst. I don't know. I just don't see it working out.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me see real quick here.
I don't either. There's too much extracurricular and red flags going on right now.
Yeah, we always talk about in sports, especially in college sports, distractions. Because these young guys that are not professionals, they're distracted easily. And I'm pretty sure that Bill Belichick's girlfriend prancing around the indoor facility every day is probably a little bit distracting.
Yeah.
Some of these coaches are easily distracted.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still amazed that he lets the clown show continue. Like, why would you let a woman come in and basically ruin your reputation? Usually guys with
I think you know the answer to this.
I get it, but usually guys with sugar babies will at least have the, you know, wherewithal to not have them involved in, you know, their business.
Dog, you sound like you're speaking from experience.
Well, I mean, I'm just, you know, the's plenty of.
No, I don't know.
There's plenty of old guys or whatever that have had sugar babies, and you're not supposed to let them in your.
Hey, man, that's the love of his life. Okay.
Yeah. What did he say about her? He said that she's my muse.
Yeah, his muse.
Which is definitely some shit.
Him.
Listen, that is definitely some stuff that popped into his head after sex. There's no other reasonable explanation for that.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's got like 6 Super Bowl rings, and he's talking about this bitch as his muse.
I thought you were supposed to think more clearly afterwards, but whatever.
No.
Well, it's clear that Tom Brady was.
He's all screwed up.
Anyway, so.
I mean, it is a fact that without Tom Brady as his quarterback, he's a sub-500 head coach. That is a fact.
Yeah, and even worse than that, he has not one single win in college football. Not one.
Was he never a college coach at any point? I didn't know.
I think he was an assistant at Navy at some point, when maybe a very, very early in his career. I can't remember. But he's never been a head coach at any level in college football. His dad was a coach at an assistant coach at Navy whenever my dad was actually going to Navy. Of course, that was in the 60s. My dad even told me some stories. He remembered seeing a little young Bill Belichick running around the practice field, you know, as like a 10-year-old kid or whatever.
Really?
You remember?
Yeah.
You remember that? Have you ever seen that movie, A League of Their Own?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you remember that little annoying ass pudgy kid? I bet that was Bill Belichick.
Yeah, probably.
I could see it. I could definitely see that.
All right, so I've sort of set this up in a way where you don't know where I'm going to go with this, because I feel like it's going to be a disaster, but their schedule does work out favorably for them. I will say before we get into this, I do not think that they are anywhere close to even in the top half of the ACC this year. So I'll just start with that. But it starts out pretty favorable Monday, September the 1st, which I believe is a Sunday. Is it not?
You literally just said Monday, September the 1st.
Oh. Monday, September the 1st, the Monday night football in college, they play TCU. I think this might be a neutral site game. It just says versus TCU, but being the fact that it's on a Monday night means it's probably going to be, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be maybe at AT&T Stadium, Cowboy Stadium, somewhere in Texas. So,
yeah, because that's halfway in between North Carolina and Texas.
Right. Yeah, you know those neutral site games, like the neutral site games that LSU always plays at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. No, like that one.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think technically our opening week game against Notre Dame is considered neutral site, which I find dumb as hell, but whatever.
Where's it at? Jacksonville?
No. It's in Miami.
Oh. At Hard Rock?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Okay. All right, I'll let you go first, Sea-Dog. TCU.
I'm going to go ahead and say this will be a loss.
A loss? So what you're saying is that Bill Belichick's opening college game against TCU is going to be a loss?
Well, I mean...
To the Horny Toads.
I do.
Okay.
I mean, TCU's not that great, but they're at least not a clown show. They've had, several years with their coach. Stuff like that.
Okay. What about you, Slim?
Even if it wasn't a clown show, this is still kind of a tough opening game,
I actually kind of want to give this to North Carolina. I think Bill Belichick did good in the transfer portal. And I mean, famously, Nick Saban learned all of his defensive philosophies from Bill Belichick. So I do think they'll probably have at least a decent defense. Yeah, give me North Carolina.
All right, so I'm the tiebreaker here, and I don't think this is going to be as bad as people think it's going to be for his opening game here, but I'm giving the win to TCU. It's just there's too much going on in North Carolina, and this being Bill Belichick's first game, going up against a very experienced head coach for TCU, I just think it's going to be too much for him. It may take him a few games to get his bearings. This isn't the NFL. It's just so much different. He's going to have to figure it out on the fly since he's never done it before. So give me TCU. That's a loss for Bill Belichick's opening college game there. I'm just going to give the next two to Bill Belichick here and North Carolina against Charlotte and then against Richmond.
That's fine.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Let's not get crazy here. I mean, it would be funny if they lost one of those, which might happen, but who knows, but probably not.
Yeah, let's not get crazy.
Let's not get crazy. Now, their next Power Four, I guess what you would call it, out of conference game at UCF. This is a conference game. No, it's not. I'm looking at TCU. So a non-conference game against UCF at UCF. What you got, C-Dog?
Ooh. I'm gonna say a loss for that. Although they did lose their coach, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm about to say you have Scott Frost trying to rehabilitate his image after that debacle at Nebraska.
Tough.
And but UCF was not very good last year.
Yeah, he had a great team at UCF. I don't know. But still, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to UCF.
Yeah, I'm not.
So we're split on that one, too?
You've got a lot of faith in old Billy.
I've got no faith in Billy. Give me UCF with the win there. Especially since they're the home team.
Yeah.
So now we got them at 2-2. Then they move on. Now, talk about this is another reason I picked UCF to win. That is after the week after they play UCF, they got to travel to Death Valley and play Clemson.
Wolf.
No, that's actually in North Carolina, isn't it? It doesn't matter. They play Clemson the week after UCF. So they go on the road at UCF, then they go back home. They got Clemson. You could play this game on the moon. It wouldn't matter. Clemson's going to beat them by 50. So that's a loss.
Yeah.
I don't know that Clemson beats them by 50, but I do think Clemson easily wins the game.
So that's another loss. Then they travel out to California to play Cal. What you got, Sea-Dog?
Ooh.
This is a 10:30 p.m. Eastern time kickoff here, so it's almost midnight.
Jeez. God, I don't know. It's just two terrible teams.
This is almost like a coin flip, isn't it?
Even freaking
I mean, I would
Florida State beat Cal last year.
I would give North Carolina the edge on quarterback because, I mean, Cal's quarterback last year was decent, and he's gone.
Yeah.
He transferred out, so.
But it's at Cal. Ooh.
You got the 3-hour time change. It's going to be almost midnight at Eastern time when they kick off. Now, I don't know, if Bill Belichick is a analytics guy and he's going to try to get the team out there 4 days early so they can get used to the time change type thing, or who knows. But traveling out west, especially after a game against a team like Clemson, then you got to.
Yeah, they're going to be on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah.
Man.
So I think Slim picked North Carolina because of Max Johnson, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
That's really about the only reason.
This is so hard. I don't know. I guess North Carolina can win this game.
Oh no! So my vote doesn't matter.
God dang, Cal lost to freaking Florida State last year. That's low down.
They did.
That is bad. So my vote doesn't matter. That both of them picked North Carolina. I was actually going to pick Cal just because of the that 3-game stretch there for North Carolina is probably the toughest 3-game stretch on their entire schedule. UCF, Clemson, and Cal, with the traveling to 2 of those.
Yeah.
And one of them being on the West Coast. But it doesn't matter. So we're giving them the win there, 2-1. So we're currently sitting at 3-3, which is probably a pretty good indication of how their season's actually going to go. They're probably a 6-6 team.
Yeah.
So, but after Cal, they go back to the East Coast, back home again, and play against the Fighting Tony Elliots, another team that is. Do you guys think Tony Elliott's on the hot seat? I mean, I don't really know if there is a hot seat at Virginia. I guess it can get lukewarm.
Abysmal, though.
Yeah.
So abysmal.
They don't fire their coaches, though, man.
Well, and they did. I mean, considering what happened when Tony Elliott got there and they improved since, like, I don't think he should be.
Sit down and check.
They've improved increment. They did manage to win 5 games last year, so I guess. I don't know. That's rough, though.
Just an update, because I just remembered the running back I was thinking of for North Carolina last year was Omarion Hampton.
Yeah.
He just popped into my mind. So, anyway, I'll start out here. I've got in Chapel Hill against Virginia. I hate to do it I hope Virginia wins this game because I'm pulling for Tony Elliott, and I don't really have any issues with Virginia to begin with. But I do think they're going to lose this game. So give me the win for North Carolina.
See, I think there's more stability at Virginia and more continuity.
Yeah.
Give me the Fighting Tony Elliott's.
I think I'm going to agree. I think I'm going to take Virginia, too.
Wow. All right. I like it. I'm not mad at you.
Split wildly on North Carolina.
We are.
Three of us.
Well, because you could probably interview 100 people and get their game by game predictions, and you'll get 100 different variations of it. That's how, when you have a guy like Bill Belichick, who is maybe top 3 or 4 most recognizable head coaches in the past 50 years, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And then he comes into college, at the age of almost 80, and he's dating a 25-year-old, and he's never
he was cutting the sleeves off of his hoodies when Brent Key was still in diapers.
Yeah. So it's almost impossible to predict how they're going to do. I feel like if Bill Belichick could somehow manufacture an 8-win season, like, people will be singing, like kissing his feet. Because I think there's so many people that just expect him to be a disaster that a 7 or 8 win season would look like a win. Shout out to Florida State. All right, so we got 3 and 4 after that. So then they travel to the hot box / noise box / fart box is what I call it. On Halloween night. Oh, so this is a road Friday night game on a holiday, if that's what you want to call Halloween, is a holiday. I think it is. To Syracuse. I'm sorry, but give me Syracuse. Give me the home team on Friday night. I don't even care who the team is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Much I hate them.
Unless it was Georgia, right?
Yeah. Well, I think North Carolina would beat Georgia, but at least Syracuse I can look at objectively here.
Yeah, this is a terrible schedule. Sportsmark says it's a weak-ass schedule. Yeah, it's one of the weaker schedules in all the ACC. I'll agree with you there.
I mean, Syracuse isn't a slap.
They don't control.
I don't know if you can look at any schedule objectively. Like, you're sitting here calling North Carolina a clown show, and all I've heard out of you and Rec for the last 2 years is the dynamic duo between your AD and your head coach, and half of that dynamic duo is gone. So what about your own clown show?
What are you talking about?
Your AD's gone, numbnuts.
What about it? What does that have to do with?
All I've heard out of you and Rec for the last 2 years is how he's the greatest AD in the history of ADs.
Yeah.
And the combination of him and Brent Key is going to fucking cure cancer.
Yeah.
Okay, well, half of your cure is gone.
Yeah.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Big time. But, I don't see what that has to do with North Carolina being a clown show. At least we don't
You're half a clown show.
At least we don't have ridiculous things going on off the field. It's not.
No, you don't have that. I will give you that.
It's not the same. Losing, that's like business as usual, like losing, coach carousel type of shit. That's, or AD carousel, whatever. That's like normal. Having your sugar mama show up to practice and embarrassing things in front of interviews and shit like that is not normal. That's why North Carolina is a clown.
Yeah, it's pretty normal for 2025 in general. Just not necessarily normal for college
becoming
football.
The crazier aspects of the sport are becoming more normal, which is interesting.
Sad.
Yeah. So
I don't know about the athletic director situation at Georgia Tech, but even if they hire a terrible athletic director to replace that guy, it usually takes about 2 or 3 years for that to fall apart. So they should be okay this year.
Yeah. We'll be all right.
You got at least 2 more years before the wheels fall off.
I don't know. We'll be fine.
All right, where were we? At Syracuse. I picked them. That's a loss. I'm picking Syracuse.
Yeah, I picked them. I picked Syracuse to win that game too.
I guess it doesn't matter what Sea-Dog thinks, but I think he agrees with us.
I did pick Syracuse, yeah.
Surprising.
I will say, I don't think Syracuse is going to be as good as they were last year because I don't think you just replace Kyle McCord.
ACC's down bad, no offense. I don't know if you're saying no offense or no offense. Either way, why would I be offended?
And that argument really doesn't hold any water when a Big 12 team comes in and almost wins the SEC.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, first of all,
argument's kind of dead at this
I'm not.
point.
I don't wave. This is the ACC show because me and Sea Dog are fans of teams that are in the ACC. I am not a conference flag waver, so
No,
I just
we
don't
should make
care.
fun of people that do.
I don't care. If Syracuse is good on any given year, or Duke or NC State. Well, I do care about NC State, but you get my point.
I care.
So.
I want the conference to be good because I'm in it, but they're not usually. So,
Like, I was sitting there watching Clemson lose to Georgia last year laughing.
Yeah. I don't know. I when it comes to like the bowl game, like postseason, the only reason I even root for other ACC teams is just to watch the SEC fans squirm when they lose to an ACC team, like or the Big Ten or whatever. That's
Now they just say bowl games don't matter.
Well, yeah.
Unless they
Well,
beat,
actually, they're right about
somebody
that.
from a power conference.
They're almost right about that at this point. They used to not be right about it.
I mean, I don't think anybody's right about that, but that's just my opinion.
I don't know. I think the ACC, depending on, I'm not saying they're world beaters and have, from top to bottom are as strong as the SEC or the Big Ten. I think most people know that's not true. But I'll tell you from an entertainment standpoint, though, every week in the ACC is pretty fun to watch. Because you don't really have, outside of one or two teams every year, you don't really have a real dominant force. Clemson's been that, right? And there's been some other teams that have sort of kind of like crept up there. But every year, we're always talking about we want more parity, more parity, more parity. The ACC is full of parity from year to year. So I think it's an exciting league to watch. You might not think it's the best football ever, but I don't really, what are we doing here? If you want to watch the best football ever, watch the NFL. Don't watch college football. It's not about that. It's about entertainment. At least it is for me.
And it shouldn't be like the end all be all. But unfortunately, like nowadays with realignment and stuff, like if you're not the, best conference, like we're looking at, the conference is falling apart if they're not able to be competitive, making a ton of money and shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's rough nowadays.
Watching a Vanderbilt fan talk about the ACC is almost laughable. A bunch of teams that are equally mediocre. If you looked up Vanderbilt in the dictionary, it would say hell, it would say less than mediocre.
Mediocre is a compliment to Vandy.
Yeah, I'm about to say, don't they average like 4 wins a year or something like that?
Vandy is like synonymous with sucking.
Like, they're not even good at baseball anymore, and they used to hang their hat on that.
And down bad. All right, so that's another loss for the Fighting Bill Belichick's. We now have them at 1, 2, 3, and 6. So they would have to, according to the ACC panel here, they would have to win out to make a bowl game here. Now, good news is they do host Stanford after Syracuse. That's a win. I'm picking.
Don't forget the last time Syracuse came to the East Coast, they came. Stanford came to Syracuse and got the dub.
Yeah. Was that before or after they fired their head coach?
I do not know.
I think it was before. They are in look, when you go out and hire Andrew Luck to run your football program, and the first thing he does is fire the head coach and then hire his former quarterbacks coach from the Colts, you're down bad. Like, I don't know how many active coaches there are in the country, but out of all of them, the only one you could think to hire was the guy who told you where to throw the ball when you were at the Colts. Yeah, they're down. They might be down even badder than North Carolina. Stanford might win less games than North Carolina this year. That's my prediction. So give me the win for the Heels.
Yeah, I'll probably take North Carolina that one. Stanford is pretty bad. And they're in the middle of a transition, just transitioning everything too.
Yeah. I'd agree. I would agree.
Okay. We finally all agreed on one there. At Wake Forest. I don't know. Let me see if I have a coin around here. If I have a coin, I'll just flip it.
Yeah, I'm down with a coin flip.
Yeah, give me a coin flip.
All right.
We'll just have that aside.
All right, let's go here. I'll flip a coin right now. Ready? All right, here we go. All right. Tail, heads. Heads. North Carolina wins. Tails. Wake Forest wins. All right, here we go. Heads. What did I say? Oh, that's North. So North. Big win for the Bill Belichick's.
Wow.
Well, I'm going opposite the coin flip. Give me the Demon Deacon.
Oh, okay.
Really? Wow. No, I'm respecting the coin flip. I think that they can get a win against Wake Forest.
I mean, nobody just rolls up into Wake Forest and gets a win. I mean,
Well, they hit heads.
they got a serious home field advantage.
You can't really argue that.
All right, so that's a win for the Heels. All right, their big rival on the hardwood, that is, versus Duke. So this game's in Chapel Hill against Duke. Now, this is, I bet you, out of all of us, Slim Shady has, I think I know where he's going with this one. And I think I agree with him. I'll let him speak for himself now. But I'm going to give the win to Duke here.
Duke was a 9 or 10 win team last year.
Yeah,
They were.
I'm absolutely picking Duke.
This might be the most embarrassing loss for Bill Belichick of the season when Duke beats them by 40 in Chapel Hill.
Duke's pretty good.
I think they'll be good defensively. I'm not, maybe offensively too.
They got that good quarterback from was it Tulane?
Yeah.
Tulane? Yeah.
Yeah. Is Duke that good? No, I mean, they're not world beaters, but they're better than North Carolina for sure.
I mean, they took a playoff team to overtime.
Yep. To finish this off, last but not least, does anybody who want to guess who I'm picking? They've got to end the season at NC State.
I'm gonna guess that you're gonna pick North Carolina.
Oh yeah, he's got North Carolina winning that by at least 80.
But I'm gonna have to disagree.
Okay, so I've got North Carolina winning. Sea-Dog has NC State winning.
You know, when NC State doesn't have expectations on a season, they tend to overachieve. That's when Dave Dorn will have his, 8 or 9 win year. So
what you're saying is Dave Dorn is due.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he's on you're kind of right. It's like a 3-year cycle.
Yeah,
Like every
3 or
third
4
year.
cycle.
Yeah, every third year they're actually not complete dog shit. That's right. Pretty close to dog shit, but not complete dog shit.
So yeah, give me the fighting Dave Dorns over the Tar Heels.
He's got the best job in America. He does.
Well, except for Stoops. That man gets a 1-year extension every year he wins at least 7 games.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got them at 5 and 7 collectively. I had them at, I think with my picks they would have been 6 and 6. But as a panel we have North Carolina officially at 5 and 7, which would actually be the same record they had during their season last year, wasn't it? No, they went 6 and 7 with a loss in the bowl game. So maybe they were. Yeah, they were 6 and 6. So this is actually a worse record than what they had last year.
Which tends to happen when you have a new head coach.
Yeah. What's the over/under of a couple of players sleeping with Belichick's girlfriend?
Man.
100%.
What's the over/under that a couple of them probably already have?
I don't know what the over under on how many of them, or that they actually that any of them do.
Yeah, has the entire defense already slept with his girlfriend?
Why'd you go to defense?
Because he's a defensive coach.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense.
It's bread and butter. Hey.
Maybe he's got a little bit of that Dan Mullen in him and likes to sit in the corner in the chair.
Oh, don't stop, man. Stop.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Oh, that's an awesome stinger.
Oh yes.
That really is.
That was really funny.
Oh,
I actually have that saved on Twitter and was going to send it to him if he didn't have that saved.
Well, I mean, the first thing that crossed my mind when I heard him say it was that's going on as a stinger.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I went right to it. Believe me, that'll get plenty of use this season. I'll wear that button out.
It's perfect for football.
All right, so entering the next predictions for Syracuse, this is Sea Dog's favorite team outside of Georgia Tech and in the entire ACC. He loves Syracuse, and maybe more importantly, also, is he loves Syracuse head coach, Fran Brown.
Yeah, they've kind of taken place of like, you remember how I used to hate Pitt a lot?
Yeah.
They've kind of taken the Pitt place. I kind of have a team that it's usually like a rotation in the ACC. I'll have, my most hated ACC team, which is like Miami, and then right below that will be like North Carolina, and then right below that is like a third team that is on a rotation.
This Fran Brown character has really come out, shot out of a cannon. And look, Syracuse last year went 10-3 when you include their bowl win, which is the best season they've had since when? When was the last time they won 10 games?
I know Dino did.
They won 10 games when they beat Clemson that year.
Did they?
Yeah. Well, it was either that year or the year after.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Dino had a 10-win season.
Yeah, Dino had a couple of respectable seasons there.
Yeah.
And that's really, anyway, Fran Brown, talk about a different personality than Dino Babers altogether. I mean, Dino Babers is sort of like the old stoic, like gym teacher type coach that we all grew up with in the 90s and early 2000s. And Fran Brown's he's cut from a different cloth there. He's obviously a lot younger than Dino Babers was. And he seems to have this philosophy, and I guess we've only got one season to really. We can't compare him as a head coach against at a different school or anything because this is his first head coaching job. It seems to be working, but he does this thing where he tries to make themselves be the whipping post or the underdog or the whatever every week. He's always looking for bulletin board material. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
It's tiresome.
Yeah, he's very Dabo-esque in that sense. The poor, pitiful Syracuse routine.
Yeah, I agree. And so they go out and they get this quarterback from LSU, Ricky Collins, who's I guess he was a redshirt freshman last year for LSU, and they transferred out, so he's a true freshman now. He's never played a single game. He doesn't have a touchdown. He doesn't have an interception, and I don't think he has any stats at all. So, he was highly recruited. Obviously, if you land at a place like LSU, you're not I don't know what to think about this guy. He might be the best quarterback in football the next 3 years. He might be a complete, total dud. Nobody knows. But they have named him the starter. So he'll get his coming out party Saturday, August the 30th against none other than the Fighting Vols. This is a neutral site game, if I'm not mistaken. Where is this game being played?
It just says versus Tennessee on your thing.
And it's not in Syracuse, I don't think. It's got that asterisk by it, so I'm pretty sure. Okay, it's in Atlanta.
Oh boy.
Whoa, yeah. A noon kickoff in Atlanta between Tennessee and Syracuse.
Get on Rocky Town.
It's really the battle of who has the uglier orange jersey, Tennessee or Syracuse.
Man, orange on orange violence.
As much as it because look, nothing would be funnier than to watch Syracuse go down south and beat an SEC team week one. Not only an SEC team, an SEC team who I think most people believe is going to be a top 3 team in that conference, Tennessee. So, as much as I think it would be hilarious to watch Tennessee lose to Syracuse week one, I don't see it happening. Give me the Vols by a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah.
I could very well see it happening. Tennessee lost their entire offense and basically their entire defense. I think Tennessee's in for a rough year.
Starting with Syracuse?
Yeah. Now, listen, I don't think Syracuse is a world beater by any means, and I meant what I said, that you don't just replace what Kyle McCord was able to do. I think this is a much more evenly matched game than what y'all are thinking.
Well, it might be competitive, but I still would pick Tennessee.
I mean, you've got a guy, like I just mentioned, you've got a guy, Ricky Collins, who's starting for Syracuse. He's never started a game in college, and his first game is going to be a neutral site game in Atlanta against Tennessee.
And what does Tennessee have at quarterback? Either a transfer from App State or a guy that's never seen a snap of college football.
All right, I've got Tennessee. Sea-Dog, who do you got?
Tennessee.
All right. So that's a big fat loss for the Orangemen. Although I hope I'm wrong. That would be hilarious to watch Tennessee lose to Syracuse week one. All right, then they host 2 wins, I think. UConn and Colgate. I guess UConn could be a little bit tricky. Can't believe I just said that. Right. But I think
UConn is legitimately the worst football team in Division One.
I remember a couple years ago they were like, they went like 0-12, and their like AD or whoever it was like, yes, we are committed to having a football team.
Yeah. Yeah, they went for a few years without one.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they've come a long way since then. They're not. You said they're the worst. You think they're the worst Division One team? Is that what you said?
Probably, yeah.
I don't know about that.
I mean, they're a hell of a basketball school, but
okay. Give me a win for Syracuse there. I mean, let's not get crazy. Same with the toothpaste school, Colgate.
Yeah.
So 2-1. After the toothpaste school, they got to travel to Clemson. Now, Syracuse and Clemson have had some back and forth, pretty tough games, even with national championship caliber teams that Clemson's had over the years. They've struggled, or either lost or struggled with Syracuse. The good news is this game's in Clemson. It's not in the fart box. Clemson has this every time they travel up to Syracuse, they have some sort of trouble there. They always get scared.
Well, to be fair, when Clemson was having trouble with them, it was when Dino was there.
Well, this will be the first time they played without, with a new coach. But I can't wait to see what Fran Brown tries to come up with for bulletin board material against Clemson. But whatever he's going to do, it's not going to work. Give me Clemson big at home.
I'm going to have to agree. Clemson will probably be the best team in the conference this year. So
They might be. They might not be. They should have the best offense in the conference. Their defense is still to be determined.
Who, Clemson?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think they're number one ranked.
No, statistically, your defense was worse than ours last year.
Yeah, last year, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know what you're watching. I mean, they've got probably the most experienced defense in the country. So, I don't know.
Okay, are they going to magically learn how to tackle in an off season?
It's just, I just find it's interesting that you're saying how good their offense is, but dismissing their defense. I think more people are talking about their defense than their offense.
Your defense was worse than ours last year. I mean, if that's the argument hang on, if that's the argument you're going with, then Miami should have a top 15 defense in the country, and we're winning a natty.
Are you picking Syracuse to beat Clemson, or?
No.
Oh, all right. I'm just making sure. All right, so 2-2. Then they host Duke. This is an interesting game here. I'm gonna let I'm gonna let Slim start with this one. He's the Manny Diaz fan.
Hey man, I think Manny's a good coach. Much like we were talking about with the Cal North Carolina game earlier, I'm going to go with Duke simply off of quarterback experience.
I don't hate that. I'm actually going to pick Duke here too. So I guess I just kind of made Sea Dog's pick obsolete.
It's okay.
But every year in the ACC, there's one team, sometimes two, that have sort of fly under the radar during the offseason and then have a better than expected year, and people just kind of turn their heads going, oh, look at this team. They're pretty good. In my opinion, that's going to be Duke this year. I think I'm higher on Duke than the average.
Should have been Duke last year.
Well, a lot of my feelings about Duke this year are based on last year and what they have coming back, and the fact it's going to be Manny Diaz's second year there in charge. They've done well in transfer portal. I like Duke this year.
I think these are going to be two of the better teams in the conference.
Who, Syracuse and Duke?
Yeah.
That's interesting. When you say the better, you mean like top half?
Yeah, top
okay.
half.
All right. Just making sure, because I mean, I don't know where the hierarchy. Like, I know you've got Clemson up there. I'm sure you've probably got Miami up there somewhat high. I know you've got Georgia Tech up there high.
Hell yeah.
So that's 3 right there. Louisville's getting a lot of love in the offseason.
Well, yeah.
That's 4. So when you start squeezing in Duke and Syracuse, we're getting into the weeds a little bit here. But
that doesn't mean they can't be all 8, 9, 10 win teams.
Yeah, again, if Clemson won 8 games, it would be a disaster. If Duke won 8 games, they would say it's a good season.
Well, I wasn't necessarily talking about Clemson. Okay. Clemson is going to win like 11, 12 games.
I didn't even mention SMU. That's next. So this is interesting here. So first of all, we've got Duke winning that game. I think we all do, right?
I didn't say, but
okay.
Well, 2 out of 3 of us, and it's
fine.
really didn't matter.
I don't know. That's a really tough pick. Obviously, it'll probably be easier pick once we see the best place on football. But yeah, neither of these teams I think will be a slouch. So I don't know. Maybe Duke. Maybe Duke.
All right. So we've got that as a loss for Syracuse starting out the season 2-3. Then this is a tough game. This is an interesting game here too. They travel to SMU. Now, if I'm being honest with you, we did SMU last week, and I don't remember who I picked in this game. I'm pretty sure I picked SMU. I'm not 100% sure about that though. But I think I said that this was one of those games that it's probably going to be a good game to watch. Probably be a close game, and the only reason I picked SMU is because it's in Dallas. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm not going to flip-flop from one week to the other. I'm going to give SMU the close win here against Syracuse. Now you got to remember, SMU
is really being overhyped.
I don't know if they're being overhyped, but by who? Not by me.
A lot of people. Okay. Like that, I've seen some people still say SMU is probably going to be a top 5 team in the conference, and I don't think so.
Yeah, I think they probably will be a top 5 team.
I don't. And there's one main reason why. Go look at the roster. All the Miami guys that followed Rhett Lashley over there that transferred out, they're all gone. All of them.
Got quarterback comeback.
Great. You mean the one that couldn't complete a fucking pass in that playoff game? Great.
Yeah, him. He's back.
Yeah, and don't forget, they got Tyler Van Dyke, too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, that'll help. Anyway, I've got SMU because it's in Dallas. So what you got, Slim? You picking Duke? I mean, you picking Syracuse?
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
All right. Sea-Dog, you get tiebreaker.
Oh, no, not me. I don't know. Dang. Oof. You know, it's at home. SMU. Pretty damn good. I think I might go with SMU.
Let's go. Boy, not looking too good for the orange people.
Is it not? What do we have them at now?
We got them at 2 and 4.
Damn. I don't think they're going to be that bad.
Well, yeah, you do.
Damn.
Yeah, that's why we do this.
I mean, they do have a tough. They have a tough opening. I mean, look at that: Clemson, Duke, and SMU, and all 3 in a row. Pitt,
They have a considerably harder schedule than what we looked at for North Carolina a minute ago.
Kidding.
Yeah.
This is a lot harder.
They got to play. They got to play Georgia Tech, Miami, Notre Dame, and Clemson. so they got to play the 4 best teams in the conference this year, probably.
I'm so happy to hear.
And SMU.
I'm so happy to hear Georgia Tech at talks of being best in the conference.
Well, I'm high on them this year. I think they'll be. I don't know about next year, but
well, next year Haynes King's leaving.
Right.
You know,
that's what I'm saying.
We've been kind of building up to this year, so I'm fine with that. If we pop off this year, I'm fine with.
Well, you just got done saying you think you're better than that. Well, I'll give it to them. They play Pittsburgh after SMU. This is a home game for Syracuse. I'll give them a win there.
Yeah, I'll give them a win against Pittsburgh, too.
We might have lost Slim.
Slimothy.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, my vote really didn't matter because both of y'all had the same
Well,
win.
tell us anyway.
Yeah, I'm kind of with y'all on that one, honestly.
All right, so a win for Syracuse there. Then they got to travel to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech. I'll go last then. We know we're Sea-Dog's in a pick here.
Yeah. Georgia Tech should win this game. It's all going to come down to whether or not they can keep Haynes King healthy. If they can't keep him healthy, Georgia Tech's screwed.
What was it that Fran Brown said about Georgia Tech last year?
I don't think what. Oh, that Brent Key disrespected him?
Yeah. That's what it was. I'm trying to remember because he had something different every week with different teams. So I think it was a rumor that they didn't even want to watch film on Syracuse because they weren't scared. Some weird shit like that, right? Like they didn't even watch film on Syracuse because they didn't respect them. Is that what it was?
No. What was it? I think it was just that. It was in Brent Key's like press conference, and it had to do with like.
It has something to do with film.
No, it wasn't film. It was Brent Key did get asked. I remember now. Brent Key did get asked if he had known Fran Brown personally, like what their relationship was, but apparently they worked 10, 15 years ago on the same team, but they were on different sides of the ball or whatever, and it wasn't a very long period. So Brent Key didn't comment, he said it. They didn't have much of a relationship, and then he said, he says what he says on about every freaking game. He was like, we just need to go up there and play tough physical football. It's about what we bring to.
So then Fran Brown was like, he said we weren't physical or something like that.
Yeah.
He
took that to mean
I remember
that,
that now.
Yeah. He took
He
that
just-
to mean that he was saying that they weren't physical.
Yeah, he was just reaching for something.
Like, come on, dude.
Yeah. Oh,
We're gonna stomp a new asshole in them this year. I can't wait.
well, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I have Tech winning the game. So,
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter what Slim says on that one either.
No, I really don't.
That's another loss
But
for
I'm
Syracuse.
sure, I got Syracuse winning that game because I'm sure Sea Dog has us losing to SMU.
Miami is an SMU. I don't
I'm
think
sure you predicted that last week.
I did it. No, I don't think I did.
I don't even have to go back and rewatch. I know you did. You probably predicted us to go 0-12.
No, I didn't. I'm not a troll.
Bullshit.
Yeah, he didn't have you going 0-12. He had you going 2-10.
I would never.
Oh, you got 2-10. Well.
I'm just kidding. Man, so that's another loss for Syracuse. They're stacking up the L's here. But boy, the Golden Boys, according to a lot of people in the comment section and even the national media, is that Syracuse is going to come out there and somehow be the fucking 85 Bears all of a sudden because they won 10 games last year. So far, the ACC show disagrees with that.
Not according to the ACC.
How would they be the 85 Bears when they were carried by their offense last year?
I'm just telling you. The amount of love. Syracuse is getting a lot of love because of their season last year.
They are. I feel like maybe they beat SMU. I picked them to lose SMU. I think I was the tiebreaker on that. Maybe they are able to beat them. I don't know. I don't think they beat Tennessee. I don't think they beat Clemson. Duke will be a tough game. I'm looking back at it, and I don't feel like they just have a tough schedule.
They do. They do. Especially in conference. So, I mean, they didn't do anything. They scheduled Tennessee out of conference. I'll give them credit for that. But outside of that, so it's not like they have like the craziest out of conference schedule. They just got unlucky in conference.
Yeah.
The way the chips fell this year. But all right, so that's another loss for Syracuse. Then they get to host North Carolina. We just did North Carolina, and I think we all picked Syracuse on that, didn't we?
I believe you were right.
Yes, which I still agree with.
Yeah, me too. So this is a tough stretch here. You got Georgia Tech, probably a non-factor game against North Carolina. Then they travel to Miami. I'll let Slim start with this.
Well, of course I think Miami's going to win the game.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be looking at some revenge from last year on that, too.
Boy, this is a tough way to end the season here. Miami, Notre Dame, and then Boston College. Yeah. And two of the Miami and Notre Dame games are both on the road. Yikes. Well, I'll let C-Dog go first here because I have a feeling I'm going to be a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I think Syracuse wins this one for no particular reason.
For no reason at all?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about when I say I know Sea-Dog's fucking prediction.
I'm kidding. I actually do think Miami's a better team.
All right, good.
I think Miami wins this game.
All right, I got Miami too, so it wouldn't matter what you said. Travel to Notre Dame, I'm going to do. I mean, this is easy. Another loss. Boy, the almighty Syracuse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've already got them with 7 losses.
Damn.
So
That's crazy.
a win against Boston College, which I'll give them, and you guys probably will too, I would imagine, puts them at 5 and 7.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I knew anything about what was going on at Boston College. I do think more highly of Bill O'Brien than I do Fran Brown. Just more of a track record there. But yeah, I don't know. God, now see, this is the hard stuff for me. I just don't know dick about Boston College.
Yeah, so here's the thing. So I feel like Syracuse is probably good enough to make some upset, big upset, whether it's against Tennessee or Miami or Notre Dame or Clemson even. Like they'll probably, they're always good for that, right? They're gonna, some team they should not have any business competing with, they'll beat. But on the other hand, I think we're pretty fair. Like they're probably going to lose a game they shouldn't lose also. So I think 5-7 or 6-6 is actually very reasonable for this team. Now, ironically enough, we also had North Carolina at 5. We just got done talking about how North Carolina is going to be one of the bigger train wrecks in the ACC, and maybe even the country. And we got them at 5-7, and then Syracuse is going to be one of the better teams in the ACC, and they have the same record. Well,
that's for different reasons, though.
Well, the schedule is the reason.
Yeah.
Tennessee's their best shot to win. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, mark it down.
I would tend to agree with that. If you're talking about an upset that most people think that they should probably lose that game, yeah, I think Tennessee's probably the best bet there.
Because it's early in the season, because it's the first game, or what? I mean,
that and I'm lower on Tennessee than a lot of people. Like I said when we talked about it, I think Tennessee may be in for a rough year.
Yeah. Well, they've got a tough schedule too. So I mean, from a record standpoint.
Well, yeah. Even beyond that, I mean, you lost your entire offense from last year. Your running back's gone, your quarterback's gone. I don't know that you're returning any of your wide receivers. Their offensive line, they lost their only 2 experienced offensive linemen. And then James Pierce and a lot of the key parts of that defense are all gone.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Tennessee may be in for a rougher year than people are thinking.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. I still just I think that it's just for Tennessee. We're talking about the Syracuse game in particular with Tennessee. I just think Tennessee would have to go out there and really screw up to lose that game. They're still infinitely more talented than Syracuse is.
Yeah.
Again, it would be hilarious if they lost. Are you guys having problems with the? I don't know if you're watching on YouTube. People are complaining about buffering, and my mind on my end keeps shutting down too.
When I was on YouTube, mine never buffered earlier when everybody was complaining.
Okay,
about it.
I don't know what's going on.
Sounds like some people need to go get some better internet.
Yeah. Anyway, so there you have it, folks. 5-7 for both North Carolina and Syracuse.
I don't know about 5-7 for Syracuse. That feels wrong. But if they come out of that schedule with really anything better than that, then I mean that.
Now, to make matters worse, we also had Florida State at 5-7. So we've done 4 teams now. 3 of them are 5-7. Yeah. And one of them SMU at 9-3. So, at some point, we got to start getting some ACC teams here that are bowl eligible, at least.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I don't know. It definitely feels wrong that Syracuse. Like I hate them, but it feels wrong that we've ranked them or predict them to go that low. But
now, watch what happens. Is this Ricky Collins Jr. this transfer from LSU comes in there and he's like the second coming of fucking Cam Newton or something.
Yeah.
And they go on some sort of run and make everybody look stupid. Like last year, the team that made us all look stupid was SMU. Maybe that'll be Syracuse this year. I don't know. But if they lose to Tennessee week 1, they're going to be in for a long year because it doesn't get much easier.
To your point, the reason SMU did that was because of the schedule they got. I mean, they missed the majority of the good teams.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Not the case this year. Not the case this year.
No.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks.
Yeah, this went quicker than normal.
Yeah, about an hour and 15 minutes. And again, we have a pretty good track record over a series of 3 or 4 years of predicting these teams' records. So disagree with us at your own peril and at your own risk.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about.
Internet millionaires.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it. Ran through that like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, usually we struggle to get through two team schedules in one show. I mean, we're usually trying to run through a bunch of games there at the end to finish up.
Yeah.
I think it's, we probably only have 3 of us on here.
Yeah, we don't have
Well,
six people on here. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have Jordan or Talk is Fit for me to sit here and argue with, which I'm more than a little disappointed about.
Yeah, well, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that's going to do it. We'll wrap it up a little bit early here. Any last words for you, Slim?
Nah.
No?
I'll just let it ride tonight.
All right, let it ride then. All right, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right. How about you, Sea-Dog?
Nah, man. I'm just doing my thing.
Just doing your thing.
Yep.
I hear you. All right, so we'll do 2 more teams next week. If anybody wants to leave a comment and give us who do you want to see next week? So I mean, we're just kind of winging it here. We'll narrow it down the later we get into the off season, or as we approach the week 1. We typically like to save our teams, Clemson and Georgia Tech, for near the end, but all other teams are go. So just leave your votes for who you want us to do next week in the chat, and then we'll just do it that way. That's the easiest way to do it. I'll just listen to you guys. That way I don't have to do anything. Yeah. All right, Sea-Dog, thanks for the show. No success. Well, and we'll do it again next week.
All right, man.
All right.
See you then.
See you later.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to do it for me as well. Thank you for tuning into the ACC show. Sorry about your luck if you're a Syracuse or North Carolina fan and you're only going to win 5 games this year. Maybe 6 if you're lucky. Thank you. Have a good night.